NewsNation's Leland Vittert. He was up very late as this war intensified. Good morning to you. Did you get any sleep?
A few hours more than the teams that are in Kyiv, which I can say was blissful.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about the fact that there are journalists there now in Kyiv who have to duck and cover, who have to find safety and shelter, along with the residents there. It's just terrifying. But we do have a map we want you to actually help us point out, because you were working on this late last night, along with our NewsNation team on Prime, with this breaking news. We have a map showing exactly where strikes have been reported. A number of resources saying these are the locations. Where exactly did Russian troops move in last night? We knew that they'd already taken stake or taken claim of those separatist regions, those now declared independent regions by Russia. But where else are troops moving into Ukraine?
Yeah, this is the time you've got to be really careful, because the fog of war is quite real. And everything's true, anything's true, but nothing's real, if that makes any sense. So we know there were bombings throughout the country, missile strikes west near the Polish border, so near American and NATO troops inside of Ukraine, all the way to the east where Russian columns moved through and their tanks moved into Ukraine formally. The real invasion is underway. As I said earlier, the fog of war is real here, and I think what we're going to see over the next 12 to 24 hours is the Ukrainians really realize the overwhelming nature of the Russian military power. The message to the Ukrainians have been pretty clear. This is an ownership society. You're on your own. And for all the talk about crippling sanctions and NATO staying together and all of that, on the front lines, when it comes to meeting the Russian military and the full might of Vladimir Putin, the Ukrainians are left to their own devices. There's not going to be a no-fly zone. The cavalry is not coming. And that's what we're seeing. The real question this morning, so afternoon in Ukraine, H hour, if you will, plus about 12 hours into the invasion, what does Vladimir Putin really want? And if we put that map up, is he trying to simply beat the Ukrainians into submission and giving him the area in red that he declared this free banana republic of the people's republics that are loyal to Vladimir Putin? Does he want to unite the eastern part of Ukraine with Crimea under Russian rule? And is he done there? Or, as his communique said, this speech that he gave at about 5 a.m. this morning, Moscow time, so again, about 10 hours ago, to announce the start of this war, he says he wants to demilitarize Ukraine. That sounds an awful lot like taking out its ability to project any force, its ability to defend itself, its ability to rule itself. And that's where you've got President Zelensky, who the only time we've seen him since this was in that selfie video. For lack of a better term, we have no idea where President Zelensky is. Is he still in Kyiv? Is the Ukrainian military able to talk to each other? If we look back at those live pictures of Kyiv, you see some traffic continuing to move. You did see video of gas being pumped, of the internet still being on. Those signs lead us to believe that the Russians haven't taken out the civilian infrastructure, but have focused mostly on the military infrastructure.
The area of that map in red showing that territory that Russia says is theirs, or at least is independent, is this a repeat of what we saw happen in Crimea 8 years ago?
It's a great question. History doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it does rhyme. The justification is a little different in the sense that Russia is saying that the people in the red area are ethnically Russian and have asked for the protection of the Russian military from Ukrainian aggression. So in a sense, yes, what we would think based on the way the Russian military is acting, and we see that there's more reported Russian attacks on this map, that the Russians are doing a lot more than if they just wanted to occupy the red area. There's definitely a desire to punish the Ukrainian military. We didn't see that during the 2014 war, the massive bombing throughout all of Ukraine, the taking out of Ukrainian air defenses across the country. I remember flying commercially into Ukraine during the 2014 war. Commercial airlines have now suspended all operations. The airspace is closed. So it's a very different scale of war than what we saw in 2014. And that's probably the real danger. And we talked about this last night a lot, and it's going to continue, which is in times like this where you've got the second largest and most dangerous army in the world, the Russian army, the largest land army in the world involved in this, such a massive operation. They're bombing and taking on Ukrainian targets very close to the Polish border. That's exactly where U.S. and NATO troops are. So the chance of miscalculation here and of escalation is really high. It's very easy to start a war. Vladimir Putin proved that. And you don't really need to have an end game figured out. It's very hard to end a war and figure out how to do that. And that's where we are right now. Make no mistake, Vladimir Putin is in the driver's seat here, and we really don't know what he wants. Kudos to American intelligence for predicting that this was going to happen and when it was going to happen. But what Putin's desires are and when he's willing to stop, we just don't know.
Leland, your insight is definitely needed this morning. Thank you so much again for all the hours you've been pulling for us. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.